Hey now, Superfly is 187 coming at you today with what possibly might be the weirdest video I've ever made, but I was able to put it to the Cuphead gameplay of me completing the game, so enjoy. Thanks for checking it out. So, I had this really weird dream, and I don't even know if I should be telling anyone about this, but it's still in my mind, so I have to let it out. I wrote it down. Fuck this stupid Plenty of Fish girl. My ex-girlfriend, who I haven't seen in about a month, and looks completely different now. In my dream, she looks a lot skinnier because she's a crackhead in my mind, and she is. Her daughter even told me. Anyway. She had picked me up on a motorcycle, and that was really weird, first of all, because she doesn't drive and a motorcycle. So, I don't know what happened, but, you know, I love this woman, and I wanted to go with her in my mind, I guess, so I did. We got on the motorcycle and went. We had come down the street, and she had seen a girl on the corner, or near the corner, and she said, "Oh my god, that's my friend," and I haven't seen her in a while, and then I was like, I'm thinking like, oh, okay, of course, and she was obviously a prostitute, I guess. That's what I thought. So she did like this weird U-turn and pulled up around, and actually, you know what? We were in a car at first, and then I guess it changed into a motorcycle. I don't know. It was just a dream, you know. It's weird. So this girl was hot, like super fucking good looking, and didn't seem like a crackhead or anything, and so okay. So we picked her up, I guess, on the motorcycle and drove off. Yeah. We didn't go far, a few blocks maybe, and she pulled into this back lane, which was like grassy. It was unkempt, you know, like it was really wasn't the greatest area to stop in, and she didn't even really stop. She like fucking rolled into a fence. Yeah, so we got off, and I guess she had proceeded to go into this house that was like a 2 or 3 story house, and so we went into this living room area. I think a guy introduced himself or whatever, and then he went upstairs like as the owner or whatever, and then he went upstairs. He was like wearing a robe or something. It was weird. And then I don't know where the girls went, in the next room or something, and then I saw a guy that I knew, Chris Parkinson, and he was, he wanted to talk, like he sat me down at a dining room table in the living room or whatever, and we were talking, and, yeah. I don't know what, it was good to see him. I seen him recently, like in real life, and I don't know. I wasn't really friends with him, but it was just weird. He had mentioned to me that he was the ex-gay lover of the guy who owned the house, which was really weird too. And so we had sat there and talked for a while, and then he had to get up and leave for some reason. And I guess I looked down because I guess I was playing with my cell phone. And all of a sudden, it was just a book, like a little, I don't know, like a reminder book notepad thingy. And I thought that was really strange. No, I was pissed off. I was freaking out. Like he had stole my fucking cell phone, right? Like this Samsung S9 Plus. I'm pretty choked, you know. So I started freaking out, and I kept flipping through this little book and whatever, and I said, "Oh my god, he stole my shit!" And then I went to the next room. I guess it was the kitchen, and the girl that we had picked up was sitting at the table on the phone. And I said, "I need the fucking phone," and I grabbed it out of her hands, and I started to dial numbers, but the numbers were all like broken. Like it was one of those cheap plastic phones with like a touch, not, you know, like it was a corded phone. And just like a cheap kitchen phone, but it was like, I think it was blue or something, and the numbers were like, I was pressing the numbers, but they were like pressing in and going underneath the plastic because they were just so cheap and shit. And like, it wasn't even making a sound or anything on the phone, but then I like listened to it, and it was like the guy upstairs was talking on it, I guess, and I was like, I need to use the phone, I need to use the phone, I gotta call the cops, I guess, or something, right? So I don't know, it just wasn't working out. He just kept talking. I don't know if he heard me or whatever. And so what happened after that? I went outside and looked around for him. Didn't see anything really. It was just like a weird back lane, and so I went back inside, and I decided I was gonna go upstairs into this, up these stairs, around these bending fucking at the top. And so I knocked on the door. There was a door up there, and I was like, hey, I need to use your phone, like, you're fucking, you know. And I was like, can I talk to you for a sec? And he came out, and I was like, I need to use your phone, man, your ex-lover there stole my fucking cell phone. And he was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry, you know, like, let's see what we can do or whatever. And he kind of opened the door, let me in, and it was like all these people sitting around, and like this was a genuine crack house or a meth house. I don't know, like everyone was fucked up or whatever. But I saw a guy turn around. He's like, I know that voice. And he turned around, and it was like a guy I haven't talked to in like fucking 10 years, like my buddy Travis that I used to hang around with. And he had a girl on his lap or whatever, and I was like, oh dude, you gotta help me, you gotta fucking hook me up with the phone or something. Like, fuck, this Chris Parkinson stole my phone, and I need to call the cops, and blah blah blah. And I guess, you know, none of them really wanted that, obviously. So he said okay though, and he started talking on his phone. So I saw my ex-girlfriend walk through the door, and she went in the back room with the owner of the house. Like, in my mind, she's probably there to fucking do crack or whatever, fucking crackhead. Anyway, nothing panned out from that, I guess. So I went outside. There was like not a balcony, but there was a door up there. Like, even though it was like a 3-story building, there was like an outdoor area, and it was like a flat roof. But like all these people from this restaurant next door were sitting there, but they were all fucked up from drugs too. Like, I don't know what the fuck they were on, but they were all fucked up. But they weren't, you know, they weren't jumping around or anything. They were just having a good time and sitting at these tables and stuff. And I got the weird feeling that my daughter wanted to hang out at this place, and now I knew why, right? Like, she's a fucking junkie, I thought to myself, or whatever. That's the reasoning I gave myself in my dream. What else? Okay, so I don't know. I just walked right off of the roof there. Like, it was like level with the ground for some reason, but it was a roof of another building, or the same building, but it was also attached to this restaurant. So I needed to use a phone, so I headed up the street a little bit, and I went to this weird, I don't know, it looked like it was a point. Okay, so this restaurant, this crack house, was on a street. Well, it like forked off where I went, like into like a snake tongue, like a two-way, but it was like a pointy two-way. And at this point was like a conservation area or some shit, and it had like this weird kiosk or whatever, which had phones. So I went over to it to use the phone, and this phone was so fucking shitty. Like, I remember, okay, so I put in a quarter, and my money was, you know, so like I had change in my pockets or whatever, so I put a quarter in, and like I couldn't really dial the numbers. Like, I got an operator, so I had to tell the operator that I needed to talk to the police or whatever, and they just didn't get it. It was like they were from like a Dominican country or something. Like, it was like they got it, but they were like joking around and like going real easy and everything. It was just really fucking weird. A weird fucking conversation, and the I couldn't get through like, they couldn't understand what I was saying either. Like, oh, I can't understand you. It was a woman, I think, and they were real ethnic, and I don't know, that was fine, there's no problem there, but it was like, she couldn't get what the fuck I was saying, right? So I kept saying I need the police. I gave her the number. I wanted to call the non-emergency line. I didn't want to call 911 for a stolen cell phone, right? But anyway, so just then my buddy Jacob walked through, and you know, I haven't seen him in a while or talked to him, and he was like, oh dude, let me help you there. And he fucking, like, I guess he knew that I was having problems on the phone, and he fucking, he grabbed the cord, and it was like, then I looked up on top of the phone booth thing. It wasn't a phone booth, but one of those little things. And it was like bundled up in huge bundles, like this huge thick cable, and he just kind of fucking yanked out a bunch for me so I could move away from it, right? And then I guess I got connected to, or whatever. He did that, Jacob did that, and then a window opened up above our heads, a little tiny window, like a, I don't know, like a square window, a little square window. And he got pulled up into it, right? Like, he just fucking, or he climbed up into it or whatever. He just disappeared into this fucking little window that was like on the fucking first, second floor or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? And I looked up, and he put on one of those little fucking soda shop paper hats, and fucking, like he was gonna sell some fucking ice cream or something. Man, that was weird. So anyway, I got connected to the hospital on the phone from this fucking operator, and I was just like, fucking asshole, right? So I went to another phone right next to it. It was a different phone altogether. It was like this weird wooden fucking cabinet thing that was like leaning a bit, and it was just really fucking strange. And I remember digging in my pockets, and I was like, oh my god, like, I'm running out of money here. I better fucking get a hold of somebody quick, right? Like, my change, I don't even know what I had. I had like very little change at this point for some reason, right? So I was able to fucking, I don't know, there was no real place to put in quarters, but I guess I was able to put in something, I don't know, and I guess I dialed the numbers, but then I guess it turned out to be like a fake phone. Like, it was just really weird. And out of that ice cream window, which was still very close to this phone, my friend Jacob had disappeared, and this older woman showed up, and she had these huge fucking tits, and I think she tried to like touch me with her tits, like she was like fucking putting them out of her fucking window, and like, it was just fucking weird, man. So I said fuck this, and I just ended up walking across the street to that restaurant next to that crack house, and I went in the other side of the restaurant, which was, it seemed like it was a sports bar. It was really small, and there was like arcade games and stuff, and I guess I spotted right away there was a real good working a phone I could see, like a pay phone. It looked like it was, this is the place, right? This is a good phone. So I went over there, and I put in my quarter, and I dialed the number, and for whatever reason, I guess it didn't work, and I went to go hang up, and all that came out of the change slot was like these little plastic chips, almost like plastic fingernails, like fake fingernails. But in my mind, I thought they were like if you go to an arcade or something, they give you specific chips or whatever for their machines, or quarters or whatever, coins, that you can only use them again at their machines. So I thought that's what these plastic things were, so I tried to shove them into the phone, and that wasn't really working either. At this point, there was a bunch of, like, I want to say like senior citizens, but they were older people anyway, and they were all coming in, and they were wearing like these weird like snuggies, but they were like made of like burlap sacks or some shit. They were like all brown. They were all wearing the same thing, and like all of a sudden the phone I was using was like right embedded into like the booth, this wooden table and wooden chairs of this booth, and people wanted to sit there, so I had to like maneuver around these fucking people in the booth. And I was like in between, like this old guy, they were like, oh, he wants to use the phone, and he was like, oh, okay, and like he kind of moved a little bit, but not enough, and I ended up like being on the table or whatever, like trying to make this phone call, and for some reason, this woman at that table got really startled by my presence or whatever, and I was just like motioning to her, like, it's okay, like, and I'm like motioning to her to lift up her fucking Snuggie. I don't know, I guess I wanted to see what was underneath or whatever. I don't know, it was really fucking weird, but it worked. She started lifting it up, and there was like these weird brown shorts underneath, and I was like kind of disappointed, but whatever, right? So I guess I got off the phone at that point, and I saw another phone just off to the side of this table where there was no people, and I went to go use it. I don't think it needed a quarter. No. So I used it, and it seemed to work out. I guess I was talking to the person or whatever, and just then there was like I guess I was talking to someone at the police or whatever, but just then there was like this disturbance or whatever, and people were like gasping, like, ah! And, like this bigger lady, like she was taller than everyone else and a little bit heavier, and she kind of stood up. I don't know if she was an older lady or whatever. All I saw was her back. She stood up, and like her clothes just kind of, like her snuggie thing just kind of dropped off, and all I saw was her back and her ass, and her ass was really wet for some reason. Anyway, this got me excited. Yeah, I was really excited at this point. Like my dick was fucking super hard, right? And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was because of this lady or whatever. Yeah, I guess it was. And so what happened was I had seen them two men got up, or two people got up and helped this woman leave the fucking restaurant. So I turned and I saw this employee or the staff member behind a counter right next to where I was using the phone. And I guess she had looked over at me, and I looked at her, and then she saw that I had a fucking huge raging hard-on, and she was just fucking utterly disgusted by me, and rightfully so. And yeah, I turned around in shame to fucking hide my hard-on, and yeah, that's pretty much when I woke up. So really fucking weird dream, and I don't know what to say, but I'm glad I finally got something to put over this fucking Cuphead video. But this is legitimately true. I just woke up like 40 minutes ago. I wrote everything out in my fucking phone, and yeah, wow. Anyway, my name is Superfly187. Thanks for checking out the video today and my fucked up dream. Peace.